Stop being soft to everyone is not a call to abandon kindness, but a reminder to set clear boundaries that preserve your self-respect and emotional integrity. There is a crucial distinction between kindness and over-accommodation, a line that, if blurred, can leave you feeling drained and undervalued. Kindness is a virtue, but without limits, it can unintentionally lead to exhaustion, resentment, and a loss of control over your own life. Life does not reward endless yielding. It is through setting healthy boundaries that we create relationships built on mutual respect and balance. Constantly prioritizing others' needs over your own well-being will not foster deeper connections. It will only diminish your sense of self-worth and allow others to take advantage of your willingness to accommodate. Boundaries are not barriers to relationships, but frameworks that ensure you protect your time, energy, and emotional space, empowering you to engage with the world on your terms. It is essential to recognize that being perpetually soft or agreeable will not create deeper connections. Instead, it may diminish your self-respect and open the door for others to take advantage of your willingness to accommodate. Boundaries serve as invisible lines that define how we expect to be treated and how we engage with those around us. They are not barriers to relationships, but frameworks that cultivate mutual respect and balance. Without clear and enforced boundaries, you risk losing control over your time, energy, and emotional space, gradually allowing others to dictate your priorities. Living without boundaries often feels like trying to navigate the world without a map, directionless and vulnerable to the whims of others. The absence of limits can leave you susceptible to manipulation or neglect, fostering an environment where personal desires and needs are consistently overlooked. In contrast, well-defined boundaries empower you to assert your worth, reinforcing that your needs are just as important as anyone else's. They serve as a declaration of self-respect, signaling to the world that while you value kindness, you also honor your well-being. A life without boundaries can lead to a cycle of burnout, where the pursuit of peace and acceptance comes at the expense of your mental and emotional health. When you continuously give without restraint, the imbalance may erode the quality of your relationships, transforming acts of kindness into burdens. However, boundaries protect against this erosion by establishing clear expectations, preventing the gradual buildup of resentment. By setting limits, you preserve your emotional resources, allowing you to engage more authentically and compassionately with others. Moreover, boundaries reinforce the idea that personal well-being is not a luxury but a necessity. Prioritizing your needs does not equate to selfishness. Rather, it reflects a commitment to nurturing the best version of yourself. When you are well-rested, emotionally balanced, and mentally clear, you are better equipped to offer genuine kindness to those around you. This balance creates healthier, more fulfilling relationships that thrive on mutual respect and shared understanding. In essence, boundaries are not about denying others, but about protecting your inner peace and maintaining the integrity of your identity. They ensure that your acts of kindness stem from abundance, not obligation or exhaustion. By embracing boundaries, you cultivate relationships that uplift rather than deplete you, allowing for deeper, more meaningful connections rooted in respect and emotional stability. Establishing boundaries is not an act of unkindness or rigidity. It is a necessary practice to protect our emotional and mental well-being while fostering healthier relationships. Boundaries create a framework that shapes how we expect to be treated and how we engage with others. Without them, we risk exhaustion, frustration, and diminished self-worth. Far from pushing others away, well-defined boundaries nurture deeper, more respectful connections. Failing to enforce boundaries signals to others that your needs and time are secondary. This often leads to a lack of respect and consideration, not out of malice, but from the assumption that your silence equates to consent. Over time, this imbalance fosters resentment, leaving you feeling undervalued. Relationships without boundaries can become draining, as one person's needs consistently overshadow the others, creating an environment of emotional depletion. Self-respect is the foundation of mutual respect in any relationship. By recognizing your worth and articulating limits, you assert the value of your time and energy. Boundaries are not just about saying no, they represent self-awareness and the acknowledgement that your emotional resources are finite. Without these protective measures, frustration and bitterness can accumulate, ultimately straining relationships. Humans naturally take what is freely given, often without realizing the toll it takes on the giver. This tendency can lead to environments where over-accommodation becomes normalized. However, setting firm yet compassionate boundaries helps remind others that your time and well-being deserve equal consideration. Boundaries teach others how to treat you while preserving your emotional health. Many hesitate to establish boundaries out of fear of confrontation or rejection. Saying no can feel uncomfortable, especially for those who find fulfillment in pleasing others. However, the avoidance of conflict often leads to greater problems, as unspoken frustrations build over time. Addressing issues early prevents resentment from undermining the relationship. Boundaries do not isolate or punish. They are bridges that maintain connection while safeguarding individuality. Just as we lock our doors to protect our homes, we must secure our emotional and mental space. By doing so, we create safe environments where personal growth and connection can flourish. Effective boundary setting starts with self-reflection. Identify situations that leave you drained or uncomfortable. Ask yourself, what behaviors do I find unacceptable? What are my non-negotiables? Clear communication of these limits reduces misunderstandings and establishes expectations for future interactions. Setting boundaries is not about controlling others, but about honoring your needs. It reinforces the message that your emotions and time hold value. Although challenging at times, boundary setting fosters deeper, more authentic relationships rooted in mutual respect. The rewards, stronger self-esteem, emotional resilience, and balanced relationships make the effort worthwhile. Respect from others starts with the respect you have for yourself. Establishing and maintaining personal boundaries is essential for safeguarding emotional and mental well-being. Boundaries are more than just saying no. They are a reflection of self-awareness and acknowledgement of your value. When others repeatedly intrude on your space, time, or emotions, and you allow it, you unintentionally signal that your needs are secondary. Over time, this can erode self-worth, leading to frustration, resentment, and even bitterness. Failing to enforce boundaries often stems from the desire to avoid conflict or please others. While generosity is admirable, consistently prioritizing others at your expense creates unhealthy dynamics. People naturally take what is given freely, rarely considering the hidden toll on the giver. This behavior is not inherently malicious. It reflects a common tendency to accept ease and convenience. However, neglecting your limits fosters imbalance, ultimately straining relationships. By setting boundaries, you assert your worth and remind others that your time and emotional energy are limited resources. Boundaries do not diminish kindness. They enhance it by ensuring that you can give without feeling depleted. Like financial budgeting, emotional boundaries prevent burnout, preserving your ability to nurture meaningful relationships. There is often a misconception that establishing boundaries is selfish or unkind. In reality, boundaries foster respect and strengthen relationships by creating clear expectations. When people understand your limits, they engage with greater care and thoughtfulness. Boundaries reduce misunderstandings, prevent feelings of being taken for granted, and promote healthier interactions. They allow you to give from a place of abundance, enriching your relationships rather than draining them. To set boundaries effectively, start by reflecting on situations that leave you feeling undervalued or exhausted. Consider the patterns that cause discomfort and ask yourself, what behaviors cross the line? What makes me feel disrespected or depleted? This process of introspection highlights the areas where boundaries are necessary. Once identified, communicate these boundaries clearly and assertively, ensuring others understand your expectations. Enforcing boundaries is as crucial as establishing them. At times, your resolve will be tested by those accustomed to your leniency. It is essential to remain firm and consistent. Address boundary violations calmly but directly, reaffirming your stance without guilt. Letting infractions slide weakens the integrity of your boundaries, inviting further overreach. Over time, consistency reinforces the value of your limits, gradually reshaping how others interact with you. Beyond protecting your well-being, modeling healthy boundary setting can inspire others to adopt similar practices. When you demonstrate self-respect and emotional preservation, you encourage those around you to evaluate and assert their own limits. This ripple effect cultivates an environment where mutual respect and emotional health are prioritized, benefiting not only you, but also your broader community. Boundaries are a profound act of self-love and empowerment. They signal your commitment to valuing your emotional health, reinforcing the importance of your needs, and fostering relationships grounded in respect. By embracing and defending your boundaries, you create space for deeper connections, personal growth, and lasting fulfillment. One of the primary reasons people hesitate to set boundaries is the fear of conflict and the discomfort that often accompanies saying no or standing up for oneself. This hesitation is particularly common among individuals who derive validation from pleasing others or maintaining a harmonious environment. The idea of potentially disappointing someone, triggering negative reactions, or being perceived as unkind can be daunting. For those accustomed to prioritizing the needs and desires of others, boundary setting may feel unnatural or even selfish. However, failing to assert boundaries in the name of avoiding conflict can lead to far more significant issues in the long run. When boundaries are repeatedly crossed without consequence, the initial discomfort of confrontation is replaced by a growing sense of frustration and resentment. This unexpressed discontent quietly accumulates, creating emotional distance and strain within relationships. Over time, small grievances that seem trivial at first evolve into deeper frustrations, ultimately eroding the foundation of trust and respect that relationships depend on. Left unchecked, this can manifest in passive-aggressive behavior, breakdowns in communication, or even the dissolution of relationships that once held great value. It is crucial to recognize that conflict, when approached constructively, is not inherently harmful. In fact, addressing boundary violations directly can lead to healthier, more transparent relationships. By expressing your needs openly and assertively, you provide clarity and foster mutual understanding. Far from damaging the relationship, this level of honesty often strengthens the bond between individuals, promoting deeper trust and respect. Conflict avoidance, on the other hand, merely delays the inevitable, allowing minor issues to snowball into significant problems that become more challenging to resolve. Establishing and defending boundaries requires courage, but it also cultivates emotional resilience. It empowers you to take control of your well-being and reinforces the idea that your needs are just as important as those of others. With time and practice, asserting boundaries becomes a natural extension of self-respect rather than an act of defiance or aggression. By embracing the discomfort of confrontation as a necessary part of maintaining healthy relationships, you pave the way for greater emotional balance and long-term harmony in your interactions. Boundaries are not walls meant to isolate or divide. Instead, they function as bridges that allow for healthier, more balanced relationships without sacrificing your sense of self. They provide a structure through which interactions can flow more smoothly, fostering respect, understanding, and emotional safety. Establishing boundaries does not signify rejection or distance. Rather, it is a proactive means of preserving your well-being and creating a stable foundation for long-lasting connections. Boundaries enable individuals to engage with others authentically, ensuring that their emotional, physical, and mental spaces remain protected. It is essential to view boundaries as a crucial form of self-care. Just as you would not allow a stranger to walk into your home and take whatever they please, you should not permit others to overstep into your emotional or mental space without consent. Without clear limits, the risk of chaos, exhaustion, and emotional depletion grows. In this sense, protecting your boundaries mirrors the act of safeguarding your home. It creates a personal sanctuary where you can recharge, reflect, and thrive without fear of unwanted intrusion. This safe space is vital for fostering personal growth and maintaining emotional balance. The metaphor of boundaries as a protective barrier for your emotional home underscores their importance. Imagine leaving your front door wide open at all hours. Over time, visitors may begin to take advantage of this openness, entering without asking and disrupting your peace. This scenario parallels relationships where no boundaries exist. Without established limits, others may unknowingly drain your energy or impose on your time. By locking your emotional door, you do not shut people out entirely. Instead, you invite them in on your terms, allowing for meaningful interactions that do not come at the expense of your well-being. Boundaries also clarify expectations. They communicate to others how you wish to be treated and what behavior is unacceptable. This transparency fosters healthier dynamics by eliminating confusion or misunderstandings about personal limits. When boundaries are clearly defined, they minimize the risk of resentment, as each party understands the terms of engagement. Far from diminishing relationships, this clarity deepens trust and strengthens emotional connections by establishing mutual respect and consideration. Moreover, boundaries cultivate self-respect by reinforcing the belief that your needs, feelings, and time are valuable. By honoring your own limits, you send a powerful message to yourself and others that your well-being is a priority. This practice of self-respect not only enhances personal confidence, but also encourages others to treat you with greater care and attentiveness. When you value your emotional and mental space, those around you are more likely to mirror that respect, leading to healthier, more fulfilling relationships. In many ways, boundaries reflect the balance between giving and receiving. Without them, individuals risk giving endlessly until they feel depleted or resentful. With healthy boundaries, however, you can offer support, love, and attention without compromising your personal needs. This balance ensures that relationships remain reciprocal, preventing one-sided dynamics where one person's needs consistently overshadow the others. Boundaries are tools that empower individuals to manage their relationships thoughtfully and compassionately. They foster an environment where both parties feel valued, leading to deeper, more harmonious connections. Embracing boundaries as an act of self-care and mutual respect transforms them from mere rules into essential components of emotional well-being and personal fulfillment. Establishing boundaries begins with clarity and self-awareness. To communicate your limits effectively, you must first understand them. Reflect deeply and ask yourself, what behaviors leave me feeling uncomfortable or disrespected? Where do I feel stretched too thin or undervalued? Recognizing these moments helps you define the boundaries necessary to protect your emotional and mental well-being. Clear boundaries prevent misunderstandings. When you fail to articulate your needs, others may unintentionally cross lines, not out of malice, but because your expectations were never communicated. By confidently expressing what you will and will not tolerate, you set the stage for healthier interactions and mutual respect. This clarity fosters deeper connections and reduces resentment that can build over time. Boundaries are not about controlling others, but about valuing and asserting your worth. They act as a declaration of your needs and priorities, ensuring you engage with others from a place of emotional stability rather than exhaustion. Establishing firm boundaries allows you to preserve your energy, enabling you to offer kindness and support without feeling depleted or taken advantage of. Confidence is key in boundary setting. When you communicate your limits with certainty, others are more likely to honor them. Hesitation can lead to repeated boundary violations, reinforcing the importance of standing firm and consistent in your communication. This assertiveness reflects self-respect, signaling to others that your time, emotions, and personal space deserve protection. Moreover, well-defined boundaries empower you to take control of your experiences and interactions. By setting clear expectations, you cultivate environments where respect and understanding thrive. This not only strengthens your relationships, but also enhances your overall well-being, allowing you to engage authentically and without resentment. Boundary setting is an essential practice that nurtures self-respect and healthier relationships. By understanding and communicating your limits, you build stronger, more balanced connections rooted in mutual appreciation and trust. Enforcing boundaries is often the most challenging aspect of establishing them. While setting boundaries is an important first step, ensuring that they are respected requires consistent follow-through. People may knowingly or unknowingly test the limits you have put in place, especially if they are accustomed to a more accommodating or permissive version of you. This shift in dynamic can provoke resistance, as others might struggle to adjust to the new expectations you have set. However, standing firm is essential in demonstrating that your boundaries are non-negotiable and reflect a genuine commitment to your well-being. When someone crosses the boundaries you have clearly communicated, it is crucial to address the situation promptly and calmly. Responding immediately prevents misunderstandings and reinforces the seriousness of your stance. Delaying or ignoring violations can send conflicting messages, implying that your boundaries are flexible or situational. Over time, this erodes their significance, encouraging repeated oversteps. Addressing violations directly does not have to be confrontational. Expressing your discomfort in a composed and assertive manner often yields better results than reacting emotionally. The goal is to create understanding, not hostility. Consistency plays a vital role in ensuring your boundaries are respected long-term. If you allow certain infractions to slide while reinforcing others, it weakens the overall integrity of your boundaries. This inconsistency can lead to confusion and may prompt others to continue testing your limits, believing there is room for negotiation. Upholding your boundaries across all contexts and relationships solidifies their importance, fostering greater respect from those around you. Equally important is the internal commitment to honoring your own boundaries. At times, it can be tempting to compromise for the sake of maintaining peace or avoiding conflict. While flexibility can be valuable in certain situations, consistently sacrificing your needs undermines the purpose of boundary setting. Self-respect flourishes when you prioritize your limits, even in the face of discomfort. Enforcing boundaries not only protects your emotional and mental well-being, but also strengthens relationships by fostering clearer communication and mutual respect. Over time, those who value and respect you will adjust, appreciating the clarity and balance that boundaries bring to the relationship. Boundaries are not just personal tools for protection. They act as mirrors, reflecting the importance of self-respect and teaching others to establish their own limits. When you set and maintain healthy boundaries, you model the value of self-worth and emotional well-being, encouraging those around you to do the same. This influence extends beyond personal growth. It fosters mutual respect and promotes healthier, more balanced relationships. Leading by example is a powerful way to inspire change. When others see you calmly asserting your boundaries, they begin to reflect on areas in their own lives where they may need to establish limits. Whether in personal relationships or professional environments, consistently demonstrating respect for your own boundaries encourages others to follow suit. This ripple effect creates environments rooted in mutual understanding, reducing conflict and promoting deeper emotional connections. In close relationships, boundary setting normalizes the idea that self-care is not selfish but necessary. By protecting your emotional and mental space, you demonstrate that it is possible to care for others without sacrificing your well-being. Over time, those around you recognize the importance of balance and begin to prioritize their own needs as well. This cultivates relationships that are more equitable and fulfilling. Boundaries also serve as tools for clear communication. When you consistently uphold your limits, you reduce misunderstandings and clarify expectations. This transparency eliminates ambiguity in interactions, reinforcing trust and fostering greater emotional safety. People learn to respect not only your limits, but their own, contributing to healthier and more sustainable connections. By modeling healthy boundaries, you empower others to cultivate their self-respect and create more harmonious relationships. In doing so, you contribute to a culture of empathy, accountability, and mutual respect, proving that boundaries are essential not only for personal well-being, but for fostering strong, enduring connections. It is essential to remember that establishing boundaries is not an act of selfishness. It is a necessary step in preserving your well-being. Often, there is a misconception that setting limits means denying others help or distancing yourself emotionally. However, this could not be further from the truth. Boundaries are about creating balance, ensuring that you can provide care and support to others without compromising your mental, emotional, or physical health. Without them, the tendency to overextend yourself grows, gradually leading to exhaustion and burnout. You are not responsible for making everyone around you happy or comfortable at all times. Attempting to fulfill this impossible task can deplete your energy and negatively impact your sense of self-worth. The constant pursuit of pleasing others often results in neglecting your own needs, leaving you drained and unable to show up as your best self. It is important to recognize that saying no or stepping back from situations that push your limits is not a rejection of others, but an affirmation of self-respect and self-preservation. When you prioritize your well-being, you strengthen your ability to genuinely support others in a meaningful way. Healthy boundaries ensure that you engage from a place of abundance rather than depletion. By protecting your emotional and mental resources, you can offer help with greater empathy, patience, and clarity. This not only enhances your interactions, but also fosters stronger, more authentic relationships built on mutual respect and understanding. Consider the analogy of filling a cup. If you constantly pour from your cup without taking the time to refill it, eventually there will be nothing left to give. Establishing boundaries allows you to replenish your energy, ensuring that you can continue to give without feeling overwhelmed or resentful. This practice encourages sustainable, long-term care for yourself and others, reinforcing the notion that true generosity stems from a full heart, not an empty one. Furthermore, by modeling healthy boundaries, you demonstrate to others the importance of valuing personal needs. This can inspire those around you to reassess their own limits, fostering environments where emotional health is prioritized and respected. In turn, this creates more balanced relationships, where each party feels empowered to advocate for their well-being without guilt or fear of judgment. Boundary setting allows you to lead a life of greater fulfillment and balance. It enables you to show compassion not only to others, but also to yourself, creating a foundation for healthier, more harmonious connections. By honoring your needs, you cultivate the strength and resilience necessary to navigate life's challenges with grace and authenticity. Ultimately, the boundaries you establish reflect the life you envision for yourself. They are not just limitations placed on others, but powerful affirmations of self-respect and declarations of your values and priorities. Boundaries serve as a compass, guiding your relationships, personal growth, and the way you allocate your time and energy. By consistently setting and maintaining them, you carve out space for the things that genuinely matter. Whether that is nurturing meaningful relationships, pursuing personal development, or simply preserving peace of mind. Living a life guided by well-defined boundaries allows you to engage more intentionally with the world. It creates a protective framework that shields your mental and emotional health, preventing unnecessary stress and conflict. In doing so, you cultivate an environment where your inner peace can thrive, allowing you to focus on experiences and relationships that bring joy and fulfillment. This mindful approach helps ensure that your interactions are based on mutual respect and understanding, rather than obligation or resentment. Furthermore, honoring your boundaries not only enhances your own well-being, but also sets a valuable example for those around you. When you consistently enforce your limits, you send a clear message that self-care is essential and non-negotiable. This inspires others to reflect on their own needs and encourages them to establish boundaries of their own. In this way, the practice of setting limits fosters a culture of respect and emotional balance, promoting healthier dynamics in both personal and professional relationships. Boundaries also foster a sense of empowerment. They remind you that you have control over how you experience life and interact with others. By prioritizing what aligns with your values, you create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. Over time, this leads to deeper, more genuine connections that are rooted in shared respect and mutual appreciation, reinforcing the belief that boundaries are not walls that separate, but bridges that connect. In essence, boundaries enable you to lead a life of balance, purpose, and fulfillment. When you respect your own limits, you teach others to do the same, nurturing a life defined by harmony, respect, and personal integrity.